Okay, so today I get to actually work on my Volkswagen. So this is the battery underneath the back seat, and I'm working on replacing the negative ground cable. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's the old one. You can see here it's all rusty and crusty and nasty. So, and another part is that this is a connector I put on, I don't know, some years ago, and it's always loose. It comes loose after a while, and whenever I would go to start it last summer, you can see it just fell right off. I'd have to hold up the wire to get a ground on it, so for the starter to work. So it's been like this for years. I should have changed it a long time ago. So what I did is I went on eBay. I found on there's a guy that makes custom length 1/0 gauge wire grounds, and they're used for like solar panels and things like that. So it's pretty heavy duty, and it's nice because he crimps them, and he puts he heats up and heats, let's say, like heat shrink tape on the ends and on this end, so it actually glues and seals it all together. So, and then this is actually a negative. These connectors on the end are actually different. You have a negative one, if you can see that, it's actually a negative, so it's a smaller connector. Let me show you. It fits right onto the negative side of the terminal of your battery, and then a positive side is actually larger in diameter than your negative. So in order to get the other one to work, this cruddy aftermarket one, I actually stuck a piece of metal inside there and curved it so it'd make it a tighter fit around the battery post. So there's so many levels that I was just jerry-rigging it for years. So this is getting replaced and going into there. So I'm going to install it and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I got the cable installed, and if you look back here, you can see I bent it a little bit. I bent it just a little bit, so the cable would come out this way over top of the heater duct here. So what I did is I sand down the metal around there, and I put some dielectric grease, and I also cleaned up the bolt, and I put a fresh washer around it with more dielectric grease on everything there. So then it comes around, and here it is. So it's perfect length. And let's see here, one tool that you can pick up at a dollar store or anything or anywhere, but or even at Walmart. Probably a dollar store is best, but this is a great little tool or whatever. What it is, it has brushes inside here for your post, and then let's see if I do it with one hand. Okay, you take the cover piece off here, and you have a brush here to do the inside of the connector. So one side does the post, and the other side does the inside of the connector. And I've had this for years, and it works great. So especially to clean all the connectors and areas. So, all right, be right back. I'm going to give this a cleaning. All right, so I put the tool on there, and I spun it a few times here and there. You can see how much shinier it is now. So now whenever that goes on there, it's nice and tight on there. So then negative will go down and bolt onto it. Perfect right there. So I'm going to put some dielectric grease around there, and I think I'm going to take this one off too, and I'm going to clean with the same thing with the tool. Take that off and clean it. But I did notice, this is one thing I've never noticed before, but this is the wire coming over to the voltage regulator that's sitting over there in the corner there. So this one feeds the power over to it, and it looks like this connector is getting so hot that it melted the tape that was on there. So I'm going to cut this I'm going to cut this whole connector off and put a whole nother different connector. Instead of a connector, I'll probably do something a little bit simpler here. So you can see it's building up resistance right here. So you're not getting the full voltage coming out from the battery post over, or is it going the other way? I guess it'd be going the other way to charge it, or go the other way, whatever way it's flowing. But there's a resistance here, so that means it's getting hot. So I'm going to cut this off and go find a connector that'll be a little bit better for right here. Be right back. Okay, let me tell you about what I did here. What I did is I went and I found, it's called a, well, first I cut the connector off. The old one, I cut it off. And then I went and grabbed a non-insulated wire crimping, what is it, a connector or whatever. They connect two pieces together. So what I did is I just stripped them back a little bit, and then I put a crimp in there, and then I put some heat shrink. Make sure you put your heat shrink on before you connect this one to the next wire. So you put that on, and I bought this on eBay, bought all these on eBay pretty cheap, just a whole bunch of them, I don't know, for a couple bucks. But this is the heat shrink that it shrinks like 3 times smaller, and it's supposed to have some type of glue inside of it. So we'll see whenever I melt it. So the next thing is I'm going to crimp it onto this and then heat shrink it. All right. Okay, so I put the shrink wrap on and it's shrunk down. It's nice and tight on there. So it worked good. And then over here, I don't know what I was thinking a long time ago, but this big ball of wire was attached right here. This connector wrapped in tape and everything. I don't know what I was thinking. So I ended up cutting this off and doing the exact same thing, but with a smaller connector since this wire's thicker. But I used the exact same tube and it still shrunk down to that size. So it shrinks down pretty good or whatever. So them guys aren't lying that it actually shrinks down to 3 times smaller. So, okay. So anyways, so I cleaned both of the connectors. I cleaned those up and I put dielectric grease on there. So I think we're good for another, whatever, 10 years, you know? So, oh yeah, another thing. I don't know if you guys are wiring geeks like I am, but this wire here going over with the fuse goes over to a relay over there that actually controls my brake lights. So if you guys are interested, I'll make a video about that. But what it is, it's a relay I have in here, and it gets triggered by the light. Remember, when you hit your brake pedal, triggers the wire here, makes the relay go, and then I have the power going back to the brake lights. So I know my brake lights are working because as I'm driving, when I hit the button, well, not hit the button, but I hit the brakes, I can hear the clicking sound back here, so I know my brake lights are always working. Okay, so there's a little battery maintenance for you. So thank you for watching. See you next time. Oh yeah, one last thing. I'll put a link in the description for this battery cable. And they actually makes positive ones too. This isn't one of them, but this is the one I bought years ago at the regular auto parts store. But this one here, and I'll put down what the length is too. So if you want to order one, click on it. It was only, I think, $12 free shipping in the USA. So alrighty, talk to you later. Bye-bye.